Hey there, wellness family. Peter Gordon here. Thank you for clicking on today's video, which is titled 2 Reasons You Hate Your Job. So if this is your first time coming to my channel, thank you so very much. If you're a returning visitor, thank you so very much as well. But if you could do me a tiny favor, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell so you're notified each Thursday when I post a brand new video. Also comment on this video, like it, and share it if you feel so inclined. So let's get into the heart of today's topic, which is 2 reasons you hate your job. Now, many of us struggle with the career that we're currently in. We hate the things that we're doing. I hear it all the time. I went through that. I went through a phase where I was very unhappy with my career. And there's a reasoning behind that. And I want to share these 2 reasons with you that most people often overlook and some of the things you can do to correct that. So number 1, career interests. What exactly is career interest and what does it have to do with the fact that you don't like your job? Well, let me first describe what career interests are. Career interests are basically things that speak to your soul, things that you do that give you joy, things that you would do that you'd be okay with doing them for free. Many of us have career interests, we just don't know what they are. We've never taken the time to find out what they are, what they look like, what they feel like. Whatever it is, we just don't know. The reason being is that many of us from a young age are taught you're going to either become a lawyer, doctor, or engineer. The problem with that mindset is there are many people who are doctors that hate it. There are many people who are lawyers that hate it because the reality is that it does not align with their career interests. They're not happy. It doesn't give them joy. In my case, my career interest was driven by the notion of making quick money. So I wasn't quite certain really what it was. It was, oh, it's got to make money, but I didn't know what my interests were. It took me 45 years to come to a space where I realized it was always about helping people, but it was more so specifically about helping people think on a higher level, which drove me towards the world of psychotherapy. So that's number 1. If your career interests are not aligned with your career, you are always going to hate your job. I can just promise you that. So number 2, career beliefs. What exactly are career beliefs and what do they have to do with the fact that you hate your job? Well, as I did before, let me explain what career beliefs are. So your career beliefs are things that I would argue often exist on a subconscious level. They're there, we just don't know that they're there and they're driving us. They originate oftentimes from our cultural background or a family background. They exist based on gender, right? And let me give you an example of what a career belief looks like and how it's tied into the fact that you might hate your job. So career beliefs, as I mentioned before, are subconscious thoughts. And an example of a career belief could be, I'm a female, I'm very interested in cars, I love working on cars, but society tells me that women are not meant to be mechanics. So guess what? I, as a woman, decide to not pursue my passion. So my career beliefs have driven me away from my passion, and now I'm doing a job that I hate. Or perhaps maybe I'm a male, and I really like the feel of nursing. But society says, guess what? You're a man, you're not supposed to be a nurse. So you decide, guess what? I'm going to be a lawyer, but I hate the law, and I really think about just helping people in the hospital and all that good stuff. That's career beliefs. And career belief is defined as dysfunctional thinking. You see, it impacts your ability to choose the things, to recognize why you're choosing things that you're not interested in. This is why you'll see people who become lawyers, and all of a sudden, after 2 years, they quit, right? Because their dysfunctional career, their beliefs, which are dysfunctional thinking, drove them down that path. So that's why number 2, career beliefs can be the reason why you hate your job. So if we're aware of these 2 things now, how do we solve this issue? How do we define or come to an understanding of what our career interests are? How do we solve the problem of our dysfunctional career beliefs? I'm going to show you a couple steps here, so let's get into them. So number 1, talk to a professional career counselor. When I say a career counselor, I'm not just saying somebody that's at some career center that's going to help you write up a resume and then apply to a bunch of jobs. Not saying that. I'm not downgrading that person's job. They're performing an important task. What I'm referring to is a career counselor with a background in psychotherapy. What people don't realize is this: psychologists, therapists, licensed clinical social workers are all trained in the art of career counseling. You see, back in the day, there used to be, as I mentioned before, you go to a career counselor, they write a resume, you apply for jobs, blah, blah, blah. That has changed. It's now become much more holistic. They're realizing, and this is the truth, we spend more time at work than we do at home. So what they started to understand was we need to help people identify their belief system, identify their aptitude, work out dysfunctional thinking. We started to realize in the world of psychotherapy that our careers have more to do with our mental health than we realize. So they've now broadened the field of career counseling, and there are therapists who specialize in it, right? They can help you to identify your dysfunctional belief system. They can also help you identify your career interests. So again, the first thing I would suggest is seek the help from a professional career counselor. You can go to psychologytoday.com and do a search for a career counselor. You can add in the field of career counseling, and there are counselors that specialize in that. So that's the first thing I would do, seek the help. Number 2, find the thing that you would do for free. Now, I'll admit, number 2 is really for those people who can't afford to do number 1, which is to go to a counselor. So let's say you can't go to a counselor. The thing I suggest as far as finding out what your real interests are and thinking about your dysfunctional thinking is to really say to yourself, what are the jobs that I would do for free? If you ask yourself that question, you're going to find a couple of things that you would say, honestly, would do that for free if I could, right? So you find the things that you could do for free. And when you find them, don't just say willy-nilly, I'm going to jump into it. Really then start to do the homework. Ask yourself, what does it take to get into that job? Number 2, can that job, I mean, the reality is we all have to live, right? So you have to figure out if that job can sustain you, right? And what does sustaining look like? Maybe you say, well, I don't need that big house anymore. I can live in a studio apartment or a condo or whatever it is, right? That is the big thing. So if you can't do the counselor, really sit down again, as I mentioned, and find the thing that you would do for free. And then say to yourself, can I make a living off doing this thing for free? That's one way, right, of identifying your career beliefs and your career interests, but also helping you to then work through your dysfunctional career beliefs. Hope that part makes sense. Number 3, the last one, associate with the right people. What do I mean by that? So our circle, from a psychotherapy standpoint, is defined as our environment, right? It's what we exist in, it's people who we hang out with. That's our environment. And neuroscientists discovered a couple of decades ago, I'm not sure how long ago, but they realized that the environment has a lot to do with determining how we actually behave. It's the whole notion of nature versus nurture. Are we predisposed to behave a certain way, or is it the environment? Well, neuroscientists have discovered that it's really the environment that drives us, right? Environment being the people we hang with, the circles we run with, all that good stuff. So associate with the right people, people that inspire you to push the envelope, to try different things. I remember when I was thinking about changing careers and go towards becoming a psychotherapist, eventually a psychologist. And I called a couple good friends of mine and I said, here's what I'm thinking about doing. And I was convinced they would tell me, man, please, you're 45, why you want to do that? But the interesting part about that was, thankfully, all of my friends looked me dead in the face and said, man, that is the perfect field for you. Keep pushing. Don't worry about age. Just keep going with it. My environment inspired behavior, right? So it's really important to find the right people to associate with, and they can help you with your career interests. They can help you with your career beliefs. It's also, mind you, you can find the wrong people and they can dissuade you from pursuing those things, right? So your environment is really important. So again, associate with the right people. So I hope this video makes sense to you, and I hope you can use it to help you find your most profound career path. As always, family, stay well.